will please ask the clerk to call the roll.
Good morning, everyone. It is now 11:02 a.m. Calling the roll for the Monday, June 10th Board of Control meeting. We have Nan Baker, Dale Miller,
Here.
Khalil Sarin serving as an alternate for Dan Brady,
Here.
Mike Dever, Dennis Kennedy serving as an alternate for Armin Budish,
Here.
Lenora Lockett. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. The next item for review is the Board of Control minutes from the meeting held on June 3rd. Does anybody have any corrections to the minutes? Moved and seconded. All those in favor of approval of the minutes indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Is there any public comment this morning?
No public comment at this time.
Thank you. So we can move on to the contracts and awards. Are there any tabled items?
No tabled items.
Thank you. So we'll go to the first scheduled item.
Item number BC 2019-435, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to a contract with Toshiba Business Solutions, USA, Inc. for countywide enterprise digital and print management services using green-friendly technology. And it's for the period July 1st, 2011 through June 30th, 2019, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2019, to change the terms effective July 1st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $495,000.
Good morning, Mike Chambers of Public Works. We're asking for approval of this item. I know there was a question beforehand. Hopefully it was answered. At the time the amendment was put through, we were just estimating, some additional time. I believe they're getting very close now to make the award, so we probably are not going to need the full $495. We will certainly unencumber this money because we're going to need it when we do make the award to the successful winner.
Any questions on this item?
I have a question.
Councilman Miller?
My question is, what is it about this technology that makes it green friendly?
I'm going to defer on that one.
Hi, Jim Sebas, Public Works. Basically, it's we take a look at how the company operates and what they do with their equipment, how they recycle things. And with the current contract, we recycle all our cartridges. It's free to the county. There's a recycling program. And what they do with a lot of this, I wish I had the picture with me, is they take a lot of the equipment and they toner cartridges and they actually make park benches out of it. They recycle it and make park benches out of it. So basically what they're doing is recycling everything they can and sending zero to the landfills. Does that pretty much answer what you need?
Yes, and does it cost us additional money to use this green technology or
No.
No,
No, the recycling program's free of charge.
Great, okay.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Baker?
Just for clarification, I know that these are for digital and print management services or copiers.
Right.
So the tablets that are now out in the field, which was the first phase of the ERP process that was 100% completed and useful and saving us a lot of time and energy, do those tablets come back to those? Do they print from those tablets the plans or whatever it is that they're doing out in the field? Is there any exchange at all?
I think the technology is there if they wanted to print, but the tablets were meant mainly just for data entry in the field.
Okay.
It wasn't never meant to be printed. Then it's going to come into the main, system, and then we can run reports on it and things like that. But
Okay.
I'm sure they could connect. I mean, if they have a wireless connector, that tablet could print just like a computer can. But I would not anticipate any of these ever using. Yeah.
Do that? Okay, thank you.
Just one question, Mike. This is going to be awarded prior to be effective January 1st, this RFP?
No, I think they're ready to make.
You're looking for more time to get through the RFP.
Making for more time,
right?
They're close. They're checking references of the last two vendors, so they're very close. I would say in the next week or two we should be, and then if depending upon what happens, it takes a couple months to transition if there's a new vendor and things like that. So we just want to make sure we're prepared.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item, BC 2019-436, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment subsidiary number 2 to a contract with Great Lakes Construction Co. for the Cuyahoga County Airport Runway 624 Safety Area Improvements Project numbers 3 and 4 Airport Improvement Program to expand the scope of services effective June 10th, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $468,291.
Nicole English from Public Works. So this is an amendment for the construction project out at the airport. And there's 3 main items this is covering. One is the weather system that was sort of back and forth with FAA, whether it needed to be in or out on this. And to create some dual redundancy, we had to relocate a weather system out there. And then project acceleration and delay costs, which were mainly related to not having an Army Corps permit in a timely fashion. And so in order to make sure that we had the airport up and running and not closed longer than it needed to be for the winter, we accelerated the project with the contractor and then owed him delay costs associated with this contract.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about this item? Councilman Miller?
Do we have to pay for the whole cost of the addition, or does the FAA help with that?
Right now, it's 100% county. I think it could go into a future grant request because the FAA works different than federal highway in that you sort of ask after the fact. So I think we can retain these to ask, but for right now, it is 100% county and in the budget for the airport.
Okay.
Any other questions? I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor of approval, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-437, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment subsidiary number 4 to a contract with Perk Company, Inc. for resurfacing of West 130th Street from Brook Park Road to Lorraine Road in the cities of Brook Park and Cleveland for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $290,947.15, recommending to accept construction as complete and in accordance with plans and specifications, requesting authority for the county treasurer to release the escrow account in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, section 153.63.
So Nicole English with Public Works again. This is another amendment to a contract, West 130th Street. You might think it ended a while ago. It was actually accepted as complete in September of 2018, but this contractor is a bit slow in finalizing their books and quantities, and so that's why it's coming now, but it's essentially just finalizing all the quantities that were performed on the job and squaring up and finalizing the contract. So this is $290,000. The project overall was $8.5 million, so it's still a rather small amount in compared to the project. So this is a final closeout.
Any questions for Nicole on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item, BC 2019-438, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 44717 and enter into a contract with Relmec Mechanical LLC in the amount not to exceed $151,960 for the repair and refurbishment of the cooling tower located at Cuyahoga County Courthouse Square, and is for the period June 10th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This is a capital improvement project to our Courthouse Square building located at the northwest corner of Lakeside and West 3rd. The Courthouse Square building, this will refurbish our cooling tower, which is a major mechanical HVAC piece of equipment up on the roof. This was a formal request for bid. One bid was received, and it came in below our estimated budget of $174,000. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Councilman Miller?
I've heard talk from time to time about the county selling Courthouse Square at some point. Is that still a possibility, or have we moved on to that it's our position that we're going to keep Courthouse Square for the foreseeable future?
Councilman, for the foreseeable future, yes, and I can only say that because we have a full 7 floors of tenants that there are not locations for at the present time.
Okay, good to know.
Khalil, please.
Just a quick question about the number of vendors and bidders. This happens periodically that we send this out and various, RFBs, RFPs, and we only get one bid back. Are we keeping track potentially or reaching out to people that did not bid to figure out exactly why and, how that might affect our future RFBs or that kind of thing?
Yeah, so let me go back to a question that Councilman Miller asked a few weeks back on a similar item. Lately, since about August of last year with our mechanical HVAC projects, we have had low response to our I think now this would have been the 4th request for bid, formal bids out there. So even despite giving extra time, extending the bid periods, as well as extending the bid periods. So I know there are 2 efforts. I don't want to speak for procurement diversity, but I know that you will take plan holders that maybe pulled plans and did not bid and ask them their reason for not bidding. We also informally are just working with the trades to identify if there are any anecdotal bits of information that prevents them from bidding. Right now, they just are saying it's busy, and sometimes they don't want to go after jobs. I will say one encouraging note: we had a bid opening on Friday for an upcoming HVAC project. This was our 2nd time rebidding it. We got no bids the first time. We got 4 bids on Friday. So, so some encouraging times there. So hopefully we'll continue to see that trend.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Lenora?
Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. As Matt stated, our department does request no bid sheets back from vendors that were sent plans but did not submit a bid proposal. In this particular case, we did hear back from 3. One stated they could not provide the performance bond. Another one stated that they did not feel they could be competitive. And a 3rd vendor felt they couldn't be competitive because the cooling tower representative was also bidding. So that's why they specifically felt they couldn't be competitive.
Any other questions?
Yes, was there an
Councilman?
engineer's estimate on this project, and how does the price compare with what we expected?
Yes, so total budget was $200,000, but that incorporated some of our project management costs. The engineer's estimate was $174,000 compared to the $151,960 for bid.
So in spite of having only one bid, we got a favorable bid?
Yes, sir, we did.
Because the bidder didn't know that they were going to be the only one. So.
They did not.
Yeah, okay, good.
And this company is in good standing?
We did go through the IG's office to ensure that they were.
Okay.
And they are registered, yes.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Thanks.
Item BC 2019-439, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment, subsidiary number 3, to a contract with Great Lakes Construction Co. for the Towpath Trail Stage 1 from Harvard Avenue Trailhead to Steelyard Commons in the city of Cleveland for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $99,426.20.
Nicole English with Public Works. This is an amendment for the construction project of Towpath Stage 1. Many of these items are for unforeseen conditions, mostly related to utilities. So down there, it's pretty industrial. Despite our efforts in locating utilities during the design work, by the time they get out there, there is stuff that nobody even knew about. So that's what many of these small items are taking care of. And because this is the towpath, we have no county money in this, so it'll be funded the same way the main project is, which is 80% federal, 20% Cleveland.
Thank you. Any questions for Nicole? Nobody? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item, BC 2019-440, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to an agreement with City of Cleveland for storm and sanitary sewer repair services for the period June 26, 2017 through June 25, 2019, to extend the time period to August 13, 2020, and for additional revenue in the amount not to exceed $80,000.
Works, asking for approval of this item. This is the second year now we've entered into an agreement with Cleveland. They've just extended, they've chose to do it year by year, so this is not to exceed $80,000. So anytime they're doing work on their lines and they damage any of our sewers, they've agreed to have us come back out and repair them versus hiring somebody else.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-441, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 45243 to Bob Gillingham Ford in the amount not to exceed $63,303, and it's for the purchase of two new, never titled 2019 Ford Transit 350LR LWB with 60/40 passenger door vans.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This item where we're just making a recommendation of award to Bob Gillingham. It's for purchase of two Ford passenger vans. This was a formal bid conducted through OPD and went to 12 vendors. We had two bidder responses. Going with the lowest bidder. The other bidder was just over $2,000 more. These are replacements for two vehicles for our trades, and both of those vehicles will be auctioned off through GovDeals.
Okay, any questions on this item? Hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry. Khalil?
Curious, how old were the two that these are replacing? Do you know?
I don't have those facts. I can get those to you. I've seen one of them myself, and they're pretty old. I mean, you're looking at least 15 years old. Typically, when we actually get to the point where we auction off vehicles, they've been passed down through multiple departments, 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 departments. So, they're beyond their useful life. So, but if you want, I can get the dates on those.
No need.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval of the item indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item, BC 2019-442, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 45646 and enter into a contract with Weed Pro Ltd. in the amount not to exceed $49,000 for organic lawn care and weed control services for various county buildings, and it's for the period June 10th, 2019 through December 31st, 2020.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works again. This item, we're recommending a contract with Weed Pro. It's for organic lawn care, weed control services at various county buildings. I believe we have 13 locations identified. We did this as an informal bid for a contract through BuySpeed. It did go to 16 vendors. Weed Pro was the only bidder. It's for a 2-year as-needed contract, so it does include a set schedule for, I think it's 4 applications, and then after that it'll be as-needed services for, the lawn care, weed control, as well as pest control for those locations.
Any questions on this item? Councilman Miller?
Are any actual pesticides used, or are we able to get around that?
I believe this contract is for organic. I believe we do have a county code that does forbids the use of pesticides in county premises. I believe it's County Code 602, or to verify that, but it prohibits use of pesticides in county properties, employs integrated pest management practices. So that's one of the highlights of this contract is it's an organic contract.
There is an ability to use a pesticide, but we have to make sure we provide notice first to council on it that we were going to go down that route. So if there's a need, we typically do a notification and get approval from, I believe it's a legislative body, to say it's all right to go ahead and use it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2019-443, Department of Public Works. A, submitting an RP exemption on requisition 45879, which will result in an award recommendation to APG Office Furnishings in the amount not to exceed $14,204.18 for a government cooperative purchase of office furniture for the Harvard Road Maintenance Yard Consolidation Project. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RP exemption.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This is for the Maintenance Yard Consolidation Project located at 2501 Harvard Road. You may recall that last week I presented two furnishings packages for this project. The updated table of all furnishing packages, both past this one and intended upcoming, are on page 36 of the backup of the agenda. This item will purchase off of the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance's contract task light systems for all cubicle and office workstations and public lobby chairs for both the lobby going into the new office build-out as well as the new conference room build-out area.
Are there any questions on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-444, Department of Development, recommending awards on requisition 43198 to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $350,000 for foreclosure prevention and real property tax counseling services for Cuyahoga County homeowners. And it's for the period April 1st, 2019 through March 31st, 2020 for the following providers. A, Breaking Chains, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $40,000. B, CHN Housing Partners in the amount not to exceed $60,000. C, Community Housing Solutions in the amount not to exceed $90,000. D, Empowering and Strengthening Ohio's People in the amount not to exceed $110,000. E, Home Repair Resource Center in the amount not to exceed $25,000. And F, Legal Aid Society of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $25,000.
Good morning, Sarah Parks Jackson with the Department of Development. This is our request to have approval of our annual foreclosure prevention contracts, which focus on mortgage and tax foreclosure prevention. All of our agencies that we work with have been notified that next year we intend to amend that to include all financial counseling for capabilities and budgeting and all sorts of things, because we've been told that that need exists more now, and the DTAC money, however, will remain for the tax foreclosure prevention because that money is provided by the treasurer for that specific purpose. We got this in a little late this year due to a legal issue that one of the agencies questioned that would have affected all of the contracts. We resolved it without it affecting all the contracts, and it was submitted after that was determined. And therefore, we are asking approval for these contracts to start April 1st, 2019 and go through 3/31/2020.
Any questions on this item? Khalil?
Just one quick question. The DTAC you mentioned would be specific to the tax foreclosure prevention. Is there any possibility of creating sort of a causal connection between the general financial capability training and tax foreclosure avoidance so that we could even use DTAC potentially for the more general financial counseling because it would, in effect, prevent the tax foreclosure?
We could certainly have that conversation with the treasurer, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions related to this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval of the item indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2019-445, Department of Development. A, submitting an RP exemption on requisition 45557, which will result in a payment to Economic Growth Foundation in the amount of $50,000 for operational support of the Minority Business Collaborative and Marketplace. And it's for the period June 10th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019. And B, recommending a payment in connection with said RP exemption.
Good morning, Ted Carter, Economic Development Director. I'm here to request approval of the second year of our support to the Greater Cleveland Partnership for the Minority Business Growth Collaborative of $50,000. This collaborative is a consortium of 11 entities that provide technical and capital support to small and minority-owned businesses. We are supporting this primarily because of its creation of our capital goes toward the creation of a marketplace, a procurement marketplace that provides minority businesses the opportunity to compete for contracts with large companies, and they're also developing a portal and a platform to create more, facilitate transparency of government procurements that these businesses can compete for. Again, this is the second year of our support for this initiative. In 2018, 118 businesses were supported through this consortium.
Any questions on this item?
Yes.
Councilman Miller.
Know what the total budget is for the Economic Growth Foundation?
I don't. The foundation is a nonprofit that this money goes to, and the foundation then transfers it to the Commission for Economic Growth and Inclusion. And that budget for this program, I believe, is somewhere around $450,000.
Okay, fine.
Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, I will, did you have a question? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Just a comment.
Oh, sorry.
I think this is another example of where we do well if we don't try to do everything ourselves, and we have a group in the business community that's well-versed and knows how to do this stuff, and I think it works to our advantage.
Thank you, Councilman.
On the motion?
Okay, we have a motion that has been seconded. All those in favor of approval of this item indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2019-446, Department of Information Technology. A, submitting an RP exemption on requisition 45717, which will result in an award recommendation to DLT Solutions LLC in the amount not to exceed $92,138.98 for a government cooperative purchase of annual maintenance services for 32 solar wind software licenses. And it's for the period July 28, 2019 through July 28, 2021, and B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Board. Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. And Dennis, welcome back. This item is for the renewal of maintenance for the application we use, SolarWinds. The name's a little misleading. It's software that is used for both the infrastructure and the operational side. Specifically, it helps us to detect and to resolve any problems in our network and also in the database and the server side of the environment. We bought these licenses a couple of years ago, and this is the renewal for the license we've previously purchased.
Are there any questions on this item? Councilman Miller?
Is the price going forward more or less or the same as what we're currently paying?
The price per license, I'm told, Councilman, has stayed the same. The dollar amount of the maintenance has changed due to the growing environment, the server environment database.
So we're using more licenses?
We're using more license for more protection in this case, yes, but the unit cost, if you will,
Unit
has not
cost is
increased.
the same? Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item, BC 2019-447. It's a two-part item. Department of Information Technology, on behalf of the Fiscal Office, A, submitting an RP exemption on requisition 45882, which will result in an award recommendation to Integrated Precision Systems, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $46,203.25 for a state contract purchase and installation of 1 video storage and management server, 6 security cameras and related equipment for the Bedford Auto Tile office located at 22-121 Rockside Road in Bedford, and B, recommending the award in connection with said RP exemption.
Again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This is the county's platform for security. You've seen a number of IPS, Integrated Precision System purchases, and this is for a new build-out on Rockside Road, as Andrea said, for the Bedford Auto Title, which I believe Matt Reimer had made a statement earlier last week that is operational and supposed to be open by the end of the month. Yeah.
Okay, Khalil, any questions?
So based on some recent revelations about cash management at the county, and also referencing some of the backup, talking about inappropriate conduct by either customers or employees, I'm wondering if these, you might not have the answer to this, but I'm curious about sort of the placement and how that's being coordinated with the processes for cash management by employees. Not that, you know, we've got great employees, but, you know, things happen and people make bad decisions. And so I'm wondering how the camera placement will be coordinated with the processes for cash management to ensure that we can, you know, avoid some issues.
Sure. So Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. As those may know, this is a relocation of a temporary title office location on Broadview to the new location referenced in the item. New build out, and the placement of the cameras was coordinated specifically with the auto title office, the sheriff's office, folks that do that for a living, and with, you know, duly noting the cash transactions and how they set those up in other locations, as well as the Department of IT and this vendor. So I can't speak to specifics of how that addresses that issue, but those were the folks that were involved in designing the locations at transaction sites, as well as the supplies and storage site within the build-out. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Any other questions? I just had a question, because I was aware of a little bit about this while I was out, but is the sheriff's office in agreement with this recommendation? Wasn't there some consternation about this vendor bidding it, or?
No, I believe there was a professional differences of opinion over how many devices and where, but I believe that was resolved, and I can get back to you on the resolve of that.
Okay, but it's being procured under the state contract?
It is.
Under a service schedule, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Any other questions related to this? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item, BC 2019-448, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with Telerik, Inc. for software licenses, support, and maintenance services on the Sitefinity web content and case management system. And it's for the period March 31st, 2017 through April 30th, 2019, to extend the time period to April 30th, 2020, to assign the interest to Progress Software Corporation, effective May 1st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $37,930.82.
Again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This amendment begins, it is effective May 1st. It is the same price as the previous maintenance. In the RFQ, there was a negotiated renewal pricing schedule, And we had a back and forth with the vendor just a little bit to make sure that that price that was previously agreed to through the award was being stated on the contract. And also, the assignment to the Progressive Software Corporation name took effect on May 1st. So we do go out to April 30th, as Andrea said, 2020.
Are there any questions on this item?
Oh, I'm sorry, the purpose of the software. I'm sorry, I skipped right over that as soon as I saw you reaching for it. This software helps the web development team and the web team and all the county websites. Since they went a little while ago to what they call the .NET platform, they used to manually have to go, and if there was a change in anything in the county websites, they would have to make that change everywhere it occurred. This allows them expediently to make a change, and it'll take effect throughout all the county websites.
Okay. Just one,
Yes.
one continued question on that. It starts May 1st. This is now June. So was it seamless, the continuation of the services?
Yeah, but there has been no payment.
But no payment.
Again, the reason for that was the paperwork going back and forth for twofold, for getting the draft in recognition of the pricing renewal that was previously negotiated through the RFQ, and also the assignment of name that went legal on May 1st, and getting legal to draft, obviously, in line with the assignment.
And if I may, is there a reason why, if I'm looking at these dates, it's only for 1 year?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you go for only a year? Or?
That was asked before. I don't know I don't want to mislead you, Nan.
Yeah.
I can get back to you with a specific answer. I think I know, but I'd rather get back to you.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Any other Councilman Miller?
Since we're changing vendors, it's assigned to a new corporation. Instead of doing that, why didn't you just rebid?
I might have. Can I ask for some legal opinion? I don't know if, no. I'd have to get back to you on that one, Councilman. I don't know that assignment of interest is the same as a full-out sale, or I don't want to get into the legal aspect of it.
Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. Usually if if an amendment is allowed to a contract, there's still consistency between the current vendor and a new vendor. Maybe a new name, and maybe that vendor was bought by someone or they modified, but it's still the existing vendor that we did the original contract. Now, if that vendor, the existing vendor went out of business and we were going with another vendor, it would not be an amendment. It would be a new contract with a completely new entity.
So, thank you for that response. And on that note, what is the relationship between the old vendor and the new vendor that it's assigned to?
The legal relationship between the two?
I mean, is it basically the same vendor with a new name, or is it an entirely different vendor, or what's the relationship?
I am not exactly sure. Laura, I don't know if you guys know that or not.
Nora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. I wouldn't know. I would have to read the amendment. But usually that's the pattern. If it's just an assignment, that there's still some type of existing relationship with the original vendor.
We've had, in the past, we've had variations of different types of ownership. We've had Company A doing business, also known as Company B or whatever. In this case of an assignment, I don't know if it's a division of the original that is now being known as, Dale, I don't want to mislead you. I can find out and get back to you.
Think we should hold it? Okay.
Like
Please.
Dan's question and your question, I can certainly get back to you.
Please let us know.
If I may,
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Baker?
trying to read here, make sure I'm looking at the right. So this company, the original agreement was with Progress?
No, Progress is the new assignment.
So an existing agreement formerly known as Tellerick, the original agreement stated was Progress. Okay. So we're just saying that Progress is a company that no longer exists, and Tellerick has taken over that company?
No, it's the other way around then. Tellerick was the original.
Okay. So this negotiation then is with,
The new assignment of interest is to Progress Software Corporation.
extend the time to assign the interest to Progress Software. Okay. So we don't know really whether it's just a change of name, whether it's change of company, whether it's been sold. We don't know.
If it was, I agree with Lenora, if it was a total change of company, it would have directed us to a new contract.
Just a brief bit of clarification, just a little bit of information that I'm getting from the internet is that the parent organization is Progress Software, which owns Tellerick. And so it might be that this particular software has been transferred from the Tellerick organization to its parent organization.
Any other questions related to this item? My only question says in here it says Progress would lock the current pricing until 2021, but we're only going to extend the contract.
Correct. That's correct, Des. In the negotiated renewal pricing schedule from the original award, we have the ability to come back and go into 21 with that same $37,930.82 price if we choose to.
But you haven't made that decision yet, whether or
I
not to
haven't
go.
personally, and the people that work with this product haven't indicated that desire.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item, 19-449, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center for emergency shelter and rapid rehousing services in connection with the fiscal year 2017 Continuum of Care Homeless Assistance Grant Program. And it's for the period June 1st, 2018 through May 31st, 2019, to extend the time period to May 31st, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $258,227. Thank you.
Good morning, Shari. We're Office of Homeless Services. We are requesting this amendment to extend the term of the existing contract for 1 year and to add additional funds. The domestic violence shelter provides a safe place for victims of domestic violence, and then serves to link those survivors with legal, medical, and housing resources, and then provides counseling services specific to survivors and to children who have witnessed violence. This project, contract received an RFP exemption last year based on the fact that the Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center shelter was named in a federal grant.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Dever. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-450, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending a sole source award on requisition 45617 to Remotech, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $150,354 for the purchase of an upgrade for 2 Remotech Andros F6A explosive ordnance disposal robots to current model standard F6B.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. And as Andres explained, we're asking to upgrade 2 bomb robots that are used by 2 of the regional bomb teams. This is being paid for by UASI funds. We are asking for to purchase this as sole source. This is proprietary equipment, and so we cannot go to another vendor. We have had the sole source procurement reviewed by Ohio EMA and Homeland Security. Both FEMA and Ohio EMA have agreed that there is no other way to take and procure this item. The one other thing I would point out is that this vendor does need to complete their registration with the Inspector General, so we're going to ask you if you would please approve it pending them completing that registration.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions about the robots? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve contingent on the vendor completing their legal requirements with the Inspector General's office.
Yes.
Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-451, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on requisition 44739 to Rehousing Analytical Devices, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $46,000, and it's for the purchase of 1 handheld Raman spectroscopy detection system, and it's for the Type 1 hazmat team.
This item is a handheld chemical spectrometer, and it's going to be used to test and identify chemicals in the field. It's going to be used by the county's Type 1 hazmat team. It was competitively bid. We received 2 responses, and we're making the recommendation to the lowest bidder, and it's being paid for with UASI grant funds.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Khalil?
I'm just curious, what sort of thing is this generally used for? Is this like drug detection, or is this explosive detection? What sort of?
No, this would be if they were to take and come to an incident. Let's say that there was a truck or rail train that overturned, and they were to come onto the scene, and they know that there's been some kind of spill. It'll detect what those chemicals are.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-452, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, submitting an amendment to a contract with Point Blank Solutions Ltd. for software support and maintenance of the in-jail system, and is for the period January 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2019, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $6,000.
This item is for the data warehouse, and it's a contract that allows authorized agencies to know if and where a person is currently incarcerated. This amendment will continue to allow partners to access this information until the sheriff's new jail management system goes live, and we do have an ability to end this contract early.
Questions? Khalil?
What partners can access this information?
I have with me Mike Herb from he's the manager over the data warehouse.
I'm Mike Herb, Sheriff's Department. This specifically provides the information to the Adams Board and the Board of Developmental Disabilities. So when we have one of their clients in custody.
Additional questions? Councilman Miller?
When is the new jail management system expected to be operational?
I cannot provide you with that answer. I can tell you the Sheriff's Department is working very hard with the vendor to get all of our data transfer and the connections that we currently have up and running, but I don't have a date. We've been working with the Department of IT to hopefully finalize that.
Would you go back and find out what the expected date is and let me know?
I can try to check, yes, sir.
Councilwoman
Just
Baker?
to follow up, you are only asking for this to end, which is just 6 months from now, 12/31/19. So is it anticipated that that's when this would be not needed? And
That is the hope, yes.
Okay, so that is the target date. Thank you.
And was that new system that's going to be installed, was that competitively bid and awarded?
I believe so. Neither one of us were actually part of that procurement.
We've been under contract with Securus for the jail management system since 2016, when it was originally bid out and started.
But they're going to be the ones that take over entirely after this?
So the new system, the secure system, they deal with our phones out at the jail, as well as this jail management system.
Okay. Any other questions here? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved.
Next item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2019-453, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, and Office of Child Support Services. A, submitting an RP exemption on requisition 45756, which will result in an award recommendation to County Commissioners Association of Ohio Service Corporation, care of Ohio Child Support Enforcement Agency Directors Association, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $6,240 for database tracking and location services of incarcerated non-custodial parents, and it's for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Richard Weiler with the Office of Child Support. This is a contract which allows us to access the software to, when we're trying to locate absent parents, just to find out if they're in jail or not. Somewhere across the country. It is also used by JFS to determine whether or not someone is trying to commit fraud by getting benefits and they're incarcerated at the present time.
Okay, are there any questions on this item? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item's approved. Thank you.
The next item, BC 2019-454, it's a two-part item, is being withdrawn from the Board of Control and will be considered at the Cuyahoga County Council.
Mike Foley, Department of Sustainability. That's what I understand. So.
Next item, item number BC 2019-455 is a two-part item, Department of Sustainability. A, submitting an RP exemption on requisition 45949, which will result in a contract with Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority in the amount not to exceed $25,000 for the provision of free RTA services to the public on June 22nd, 2019, in connection with the Cuyahoga 50 and the City of Cleveland's Sustainable Cleveland 2019 initiative. And B, submitting the contract in connection with said RP exemption.
June 22nd is the 50th anniversary of the Cuyahoga River Fire. That's so famous or infamous. There is a large, huge celebration happening that day just to talk about the rebirth of the river and how the river has kind of led to kind of an environmental reawakening. So there's expected to be at least about 100,000 people more downtown that weekend, or at least on June 22nd. And one of the things we want to do is be able to provide free transportation on RTA to minimize greenhouse gas emissions, but also make it easier for people so they don't have to park. So we're working with the City of Cleveland and a couple other entities and RTA to basically make RTA free that day. Just so you know, there's the celebrations going on the river. There's the Burning River Fest. There's like a 4-mile run along the river, paddle boating. There's at night there's going to be boats running up and down the river with kind of their lights on. There's also an Indians game that day. The bridge is going to be, Public Works is going to be opening up the Detroit Superior Bridge. So Indians game. And on top of that, there is this thing called CONCACAF, which is I forget what it stands for basically, but it's the hemispheric soccer tournament that's happening. And so there's 2 games between United States and Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana and some other team. So they're expecting at least 40,000 people for those games as well. So it's going to be kind of a crazy, crazy, crazy day, and trying to minimize parking and traffic concerns is one of the reasons why we want to do this.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. Dever.
In addition, the final phase of the towpath ribbon cutting will be taking place that day at 11 o'clock.
That's right.
Groundbreaking, I'm sorry.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed to the item? The item is approved. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-456, County Council, submitting an amendment to a contract with Zico Consulting LLC for independent verification and validation services in connection with the Enterprise Resource Planning System project. And it's for the period February 2nd, 2018 through January 31st, 2020, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $156,200. Also, at this time, we are amending the funding source to include ERP capital project funding as part of the funding source.
Okay, thank you. Is there somebody here to present? Or?
I can speak on behalf of the
Councilman Miller?
On behalf of the County Council, and I'll introduce myself for the record since I'm speaking on behalf of the item, Dale Miller, County Council, District 2. And Zico has been extraordinarily helpful to the County Council in doing our oversight of the installation of the ERP project. Sig Bersons, our consultant, has made regular presentations, is in constant touch with the ERP project leaders, puts out regular reports and recommendations, appears before the County Council. And as you know, the time requirement for the ERP project has needed to be extended to complete the installation, and this has required some additional oversight time, which this extension provides for. And I would ask for the support of the Board of Control. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on this item?
Was there a funding question, but I haven't read it yet for the answer, instead of coming out of the general fund? Project fund?
Councilwoman Baker, I read it into the record that it is the general fund / ERP capital project fund.
Sorry, I missed that.
That's okay.
Also, I will second this.
Okay, the item, did we get a motion to?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion and a second from Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor of approval, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Is that the last item there?
Yes, we're moving now on to the consent agenda item numbers BC 2018-457 through 459.
Everybody will take a moment to review 457, 458, 459 one more time. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about any of the items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Do we have a seconded by Mr. Dever? All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Other business?
There's no other business at this time?
Any final public comment?
And no public comment.
So I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All those in favor of an adjournment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned.
So what did it score? Is that when I?